Content houses. Boy, do they suck, right? Listen, I know that not all content houses suck, but I think for the most part we can agree that they're pretty terrible. I know that they can be helpful in boosting your career with popularity and bring you together with like-minded and driven people that will occasionally stick around in your life. Most times, though, they're just a ticking time bomb that's waiting to blow up. In my opinion, the problem with these content houses is that the people move into a giant mansion in LA because there are 0 other cities where content houses exist, with the primary driving point being blowing up and becoming famous, not the actual content the house is centered around. Plus, and this is just my personal opinion, but these content houses are devoid of talent or anything remotely close to it. Sure, there are exceptions, but I could never imagine a content house that was multi-talented, independent, and most importantly, humble. That would be absolutely preposterous, right? Well, actually, there was one that had the potential to be all 3 and become the greatest content house there ever was. This is the story of that house, if you didn't catch on from the title. Anyways, the year is 2017, and the main protagonist of this story is Bobby Burns, ex-famous YouTuber and now very prominent creator on OnlyFans. You all know the story by now. Bobby makes a video on disgusting pig Shane Dawson. Dawson invites Bobby out to LA to confront him and make content with him. Then, after the collaboration receives copious amounts of support from both audiences alike, Dawson offers a permanent slot on his channel and the opportunity Bobby had been waiting a decade for to move out to the sunny city of Los Angeles and become a full-time YouTuber. So he naturally took the offer and did just that. He moved into a beautiful house in the hills and started making content immediately, both for his channel and Dawson's. And because he was in his early 20s and living in California with a passion for filmmaking, he brought some people along with him. Now, before we go over everyone involved with this house in one way or another, there is something important to note about the group. As opposed to most content houses out there who gain members by recruiting based on following, looks, and potential, everyone in this scenario was good friends beforehand. In fact, they'd all been friends for a pretty long time, meeting through making a bunch of stuff, including a feature film together and living in Buffalo, New York. This was a group that occurred organically, which I will always take over a group that forms in a mechanical fashion. So, the members. We already went over Bobby, who had about 850,000 subscribers at the time and a show on one of the most popular creators, once again at the time, his channel. Along with him, he brings his girlfriend Jordan there to live with him, as well as his brother Nathan, who travels between there and his home in Nashville. Everyone that watched Bobby Burns loved Nathan, and when Bobby's videos started to go downhill, they speculated that the lack of Nathan's creative ingenuity and input could have been the reason. As much as people who enjoyed Bobby's video essay and commentary content absolutely despised when Jordan started becoming a more on-camera presence, it's important to remember that she was an actual equal part in those videos as well. Plus, they had a pretty good secondary H3H3-esque channel called Nope, which was primarily handled by Jordan. The point is that both of these people who were involved in the creation within the house were very talented human beings. Next, we have Elliot Douglas, who most people will know as Mags. He's a musician from Buffalo who has been in a couple of Bobby's videos. In fact, Bobby even directed one of his music videos, which was pretty good, if I do say so myself. Now, talent-wise, Elliot doesn't bring much to the table other than the fact that he is literally a fantastic artist and hasn't made a single bad song ever. Seriously, I've been listening to him since 2017 when he showed up on a surf rock playlist on Spotify that I listened to, and I haven't stopped since. He's also seen a good amount of commercial success as he has over 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. He was just signed to Take This to Heart Records, which has been home to acts like McCafferty and Baby Fuzz, and he's going on a nationwide tour in the fall. If you don't believe in the hype train that I'm bringing up right now, here's a clip of his new song Beg, which I beg you to go listen to. So, needless to say, Elliot was also a very talented individual in a completely different sector of art than Bobby was. Following Mags, we have Thomas Hankey. I hope I'm saying the last name right. Who's a musician and actor that Bobby also met through making a feature film together. He just so happened to be living in LA when Bobby moved out, so he became a frequent visitor to the house and may or may not have lived there. I'm not quite sure. Although his musical career didn't progress as much as Elliot, he seemed to also be super gifted. Here's a clip of him performing his original song, Trades.
Back home, 'cause I'm no good at being alone. Call it back on.
Pretty good, no? And although I've never seen him act in anything, he managed to land a role in an upcoming Hulu show, so that's definitely a sign of immense talent. The penultimate member of this group is Yale Fried, who's a director, editor, and producer. He was a casual visitor to the house, more than Nathan but less than Tom. He's the most interesting case in this list for me because I'd argue that he's had the most professional growth, as he's currently the producer and editor for Pod Save America, which according to Edison Research is the 8th most listened to podcast from the US in 2020. He's also involved in the parent company of the podcast, which is Crooked Media, and recently wrote a very insightful and well put together essay on the Israel-Palestine conflict. So while most of these people were more on-camera talent, the house did have a brilliant person for off-camera activities as well. Finally, although he came into the picture a little late, we have Sawyer Matheny, an actor and a mutual friend of Bobby and Yale. He moved out to LA to pursue his YouTube channel, which was brimming with creativity and potential, which is super potent in a collaboration that he does with icon Mac Does It. Although he hasn't really made many strides on the entertainment side of things, he stated that the pace and fakeness of LA was a bit too much for him. So he moved back home, and I can only assume that has done wonders for his mental state. Plus, he has a web show called Posted that seems to be in a bit of post-production heck, but that still means he's fulfilling his creative side. So that is the whole team, and even though they seem like a very charismatic group, the videos Bobby made in LA were met with shock and dismay, as they were almost the antithesis of the commentary videos he was making previously. And sure, the videos on Dawson's channel were pretty bad, as they were about really dumb subjects like how much can you buy in clothes for $1,000 on Rodeo Drive, or how does buying subscribers work? That being said, his followers still weren't satisfied with his content on his own channel, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. Sure, it was different, and you could definitely see the inspiration of Dawson glowing through, but they were still pretty solid videos. Both his original audience and newly acquired audience were relentless in his comments. They didn't even give him time to settle down, which you can see in the fact that he posted his first LA-oriented video in the beginning of February, and he posted a video about having a mental breakdown in the beginning of May. With such a giant shift in your life, you can't expect even the most responsible person to have themselves completely together in only 3 months. But in the world of instantaneous gratification that technology has curated, people expect that to happen in approximately, like 1 day. So even I have to admit that after that mental breakdown video, Bobby's content went down the drain. His video, What Happens When You Actually Get Sick, which is just him being sick for 5.5 minutes, is one of my most despised pieces of content ever. And as his content went down the tubes, so did his views, his association with Dawson, and by proxy, his income. He and his girlfriend broke up, he had to move out of the house, and all of a sudden, one of the most promising groups of young people collaborating on YouTube just kinda vanished. As I mentioned, Sawyer left because of the LA lifestyle, and Jordan and Bobby broke up, but it's unknown as to why the others stopped interacting him. The only person who had appeared in Bobby's newer and more recent stuff is Nathan, which makes sense because he's his brother. If it was just a group that was put together by some higher up to run a profit-generating machine, I wouldn't be that upset, but this was a group of friends that all had a clearly defined vision, and I truly believe if they had all worked together on each other's respective projects, with Bobby's meteorically growing channel being the hub for attention, they could have been at the forefront of YouTube right now. This was a group that was so different in both personality and passion, as opposed to most content houses where the members are just like copy-pastes of each other in both looks and personality. I naturally gravitated towards this group because they seemed just like a bunch of normal kids discovering the world together. The chemistry that they had with each other was electric, and it was very apparent that they enjoyed spending time together and making content together also. Music, films, YouTube videos, the opportunity for growth was endless, and the avenues they could take were endless too. But instead, we're left with one of the biggest what-if scenarios that YouTube has ever seen. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be cool, but if you don't want to, that's also alright. Thanks to my patrons Carl McGee and Weston Katecki. The link to my Patreon as well as my Twitter are in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.